Welcome back to another explainer. You know, if you're a focused learner looking to uncover the actual mechanics of how the world gets built, you are in the exact right place today. We're unpacking a massive billion-dollar mystery. Have you ever wondered why some of those monumental infrastructure projects, the ones that literally transform entire cities and change millions of lives, succeed with this incredible clockwork efficiency, while others just stall? They stall for years, eating up budgets and making absolutely no progress. Well, today we're diving deep into the absolute blueprint for mega project success. Right off the bat, we have to ask a core question. Why do some mega projects fail? I mean, this is the central puzzle we're solving in this explainer. And we've all experienced this, right? Maybe in our own cities, or honestly, even in our own companies. A huge, super ambitious plan gets announced. The budget is massive, the media is all over it, but then nothing happens. Deadlines come and go, costs skyrocket, and the whole thing turns into this never-ending roadblock. What is that missing ingredient when these massive plans go totally off the rails? Okay, let's dive into this by looking at a fascinating tale of two cities from our source material. First up, the Delhi Metro. Now, Delhi was a city seriously struggling with growing traffic, crowded roads, a booming population. But their metro project? It became legendary for disciplined execution and strict schedules. It just moved incredibly efficiently. But contrast that with the Bengaluru Metro. Same country, massive budgets, but a very, very different reality. They face severe delays, mostly caused by land acquisition hurdles, technical roadblocks, and just administrative friction. So why the stark difference? How did one project cut right through the noise while the other just got bogged down? Section 1. The man behind the metro. Engineering a leadership culture. To truly understand this success, we really have to look at the human element. Specifically, an incredibly experienced engineer named Sreedharan. He became the face and the absolute driving force behind the Delhi Metro project. See, Sreedharan knew that the real story is about leadership, discipline, and execution, not just trains and stations. I mean, it's so easy to get caught up in the engineering marvel of a metro system, isn't it? We look at those massive tunnel boring machines, the thousands of tons of concrete, the shiny new trains, and we think, wow, what an engineering victory. But transforming Delhi from a gridlocked city into a world-class public transport hub, that was fundamentally a leadership challenge. You can literally have the best technology and the most brilliant engineers on the planet, but without rigorous discipline, all of that is just a very expensive pile of steel waiting to be assembled. Which brings us to Section 2, Sreedharan's Rules for Success, Building Accountability. So the crucial point is, how did he actually cut through all that chaos, red tape, and bureaucracy that usually bogs down these huge public works? Well, Sreedharan operated on a simple but highly effective playbook. First, give engineers authority for technical decisions. Basically, put the power in the hands of the actual experts, not the bureaucrats. Second, reduce unnecessary interference. Third, make decisions quickly. And finally, keep absolutely everyone relentlessly focused on the deadline. I want you to think about your own professional projects for a second, no matter what industry you're in. How often are your delays caused by too much interference from people who don't actually understand the day-to-day work, or by a painfully slow decision-making process? Sreedharan systematically eliminated those exact bottlenecks. Now, those high-level rules actually translated into a daily reality on the ground through 3 distinct steps. Step 1 was setting incredibly strict construction schedules. Step 2, implement constant progress monitoring. Because, let's face it, you can't just set a deadline, walk away, and hope for the best, right? You have to track it obsessively. And Step 3, enforce a strong culture of accountability. Every single construction team out there knew exactly what was expected of them. And because decisions were being made quickly and outside interference was kept low, there were simply no excuses for missing targets. But what happens when you take away that highly functional framework? Section 3. Why other megaprojects fail. Plans versus execution. When we look back at the Bengaluru Metro, a lack of that disciplined culture really manifested as severe, highly specific roadblocks. We're talking about land acquisition delays, construction difficulties, administrative coordination roadblocks, technical challenges, and an incredibly complex project scope. But notice how many of these are essentially just administrative and coordination issues. When you lack quick decision-making and a strict chain of command, red tape just completely takes over. A complex project scope quickly becomes this impossible maze if you don't have empowered engineers ready to make rapid technical calls to solve problems the minute they pop up. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this fascinating, simple truth. The answer is not simply money. I just want to pause for a second and let that sink in. We so often fall into the trap of thinking that if we just throw a massive billion-dollar budget at an infrastructure problem, it's just going to automatically sort itself out. But our source material stresses this over and over. You can have all the funding in the world, literally bottomless pockets, but a massive budget absolutely cannot save a project that lacks disciplined execution. Money does not build metros. Empowered people, strict timelines, and clear processes do.
Section 4. The ultimate leadership lesson, turning plans into reality.
So, how do we apply these lessons universally? Whether you're building a massive transit system for a city or just managing a major software rollout in your own career. According to our sources, any successful mega project absolutely requires these essential, non-negotiable ingredients. Clear leadership to set the vision. Technical expertise, meaning you actually put the experts in charge of the details. Quick decisions to keep the momentum going. Accountability to ensure everyone pulls their weight. Careful planning, and above all else, strong execution. The Delhi Metro story became this powerful global lesson in infrastructure because it proved that when you combine these elements, you can overcome even the most daunting, complex environments. Ultimately, it comes down to what our source material perfectly captures right here. A great project does not happen because of plans alone. It happens when people have the authority, discipline, and determination to turn those plans into reality. Honestly, anyone can draft an ambitious plan on a whiteboard. Anyone can dream up a spectacular, flashy design. But as we've seen throughout this whole explainer, the ultimate difference between a stalled construction site and a world-class public transport system just comes down to the rigorous, daily discipline to actually execute. So next time you see a project stalled in your city, or maybe even in your own office, ask yourself the tough question: are you really lacking resources, or are you just lacking the accountability and authority to execute? Thanks so much for joining this explainer, and as always, keep learning.